Hello, welcome to another edition of the Leeds Review / Preview Show. I am your host, your Vice President of Media, and your inaugural league champion, Samuel Travers Wood. Sorry for not having the show sooner. I'm afraid I've had a very busy schedule of late, and it's meant we haven't been able to film. But we're back, and we're better and bigger than ever. So we're going to get straight into it. We're going to look at week 13. Unlucky for some, as it was the week that decided the playoff picture. We've been looking at this. This is what it's all about. Who made the playoffs, who didn't. So we're going to start off with the game that meant very little, but it was the best game of the season. And that was between... I apologise for that. Between Simon Kay and Ollie Hume. What a game it was. High scoring. No buys by Ollie, I believe, and Syed only had a couple of buys. I believe Syed could have scored, and Ollie certainly could have scored more than Brunning this week, which is an interesting scenario. But it was a great game, 1 point in it. Game was won by Syed K, finishing strong is Simon. Ollie, a great week, no disrespect to him, but he's going to go in as the 3 seed, and he should be having a bye this week. He should be sitting at home, relaxing, enjoying himself, watching the games, chilling out. But he's not. He's in the dogfight now. He's in a fight to make the playoffs, to make the next round of the playoffs, sorry. And I think Sai is finishing really strong. His team's very competent. It's starting to come together a little bit for him. I do, however, worry with Simon that he's going to bottle it, because in general, the kid's got no bottle. He's made of glass, physically and mentally. And I do worry that this is the end already. Just, he's going to overthink it, tinker too much, and he could be in big trouble. I hope I'm wrong for Simon's sake, but I think I could be right. So these two going to the playoffs, looking really good. We'll talk about their matchups later, but really good signs for both teams. It didn't matter if they won or lost, really. It was playoff position, maybe. Maybe it's a good thing you lost, maybe it's a good thing you won, depending on who you want to play. The next game we're going to talk about is Tom Overton Smith going up against Charles Smith. The battle of the Smiths that aren't brothers. It was kind of interesting to see Charles finally taking an interest in the last few weeks, desperately trying to come back. I mean, if he'd have paid attention, he probably would have made the playoffs. It's embarrassing for himself, because we pride ourselves in this league of taking things seriously. I think his brothers had a fantastic season in terms of taking it serious. I think Charles has let himself down. He's let his family down. He's let his country down. He should have taken it more seriously. I bet he doesn't even watch these videos. There's no point in me even having a go at him, because he probably doesn't watch it. He's probably too busy making trainers. But T.O. 158, he's a shell of his former self as a team. I've been saying it the whole year. I've been consistent. As I've said before, I'll say it again, his team is there for the taking if someone fancies it. If someone has a good week, he's banging trouble, and I think his time is coming. I think his time, he's about to get banged and about to be gone. Charles, I commend him on buying some players. I mean, I know, moving away from the games, I know there was a certain league member in contact with him, maybe two, from a certain alliance, in a desperate ploy to try and stop another league member making the playoffs, and I'm sure he's offered up his own money to it, because there's no way with Charles's religious beliefs that he's paying, sorry, not his actual religious beliefs, but his perceived religious beliefs by some, that he's paying for players. So I think it's pretty sad that someone has basically bought him players, and I find that embarrassing for the other player. I mean, the quote coming out about Andrew Brunning is, he did everything possible. He was in constant contact, okay, with league members, trying his best to sabotage other teams' chances. It's a sad day when a league member does this, but he's not prevailed. Evil never wins over good, and I'm afraid Charles didn't do enough to make the playoffs. It's a shame. So Charles, 8th place. Better luck next year. In the next game, we have the mentioned alliance members of Andrew Brunning and Thomas Smith going up against each other. Fascinating game to watch for me. The fact that Brunning doesn't need the win. Doesn't make a difference to his team. He's going to finish in the top 2 regardless. And he doesn't help out his younger alliance member when he needs it most. The betrayal is unreal. I mean, if Tom still considers him and Brunning allies, he's a fool. Because if you have an alliance, you have to be getting something out of it. And Brunning has ragged it for everything he's got. He's used him, abused him, and then he's tossed him away. Brunning is just like a sex-mad maniac. He's disgusting. He's just using... He basically just used Tom and thrown him away like a rag doll. Obviously, not sexually. That's an inappropriate connotation. But it's an apt analogy. He is basically just tossed Tom out of bed like he's not worth a penny. And Tom should be embarrassed for falling for it, to be honest. He could have formed an alliance with a much stronger, much more politically savvy member. He chose to make an alliance with a fool, and he's got burnt, and he deserves it. And I'm glad he's got burnt because he's a clown. His team are terrible. He's an embarrassment to the league. 7th place. It's just, he deserves everything he got. Sitting there trying to buy players in a desperate attempt, thinking that other league members aren't clever enough to realise what he's doing. So foolish. He's wasted so much money and time. And it's so funny that he thought he could last desperate ploy, could buy players at 1 AM, and that Wood would not see it. Who does he think he's dealing with? You can read him like a book. Woods told us he knew what he was going to do. He knew he was going to try and stay quiet, not say he was going to buy because he didn't want Wood to buy Des. Do you think he's a fool? No, you're a fool, Smith, and you're done. You're finished. Kablamo. See you later. Brunning 2-2-3, bought 3 players, got a good team. Peaked at the wrong weeks, talking about how good he is. We see Tom Smith score big. Tom Smith had 2 weeks of 190. Then what happened? He's not in the playoffs anymore. Brunning, you're a joker. Get over it, okay? 2-2-3, fantastic. Well done. Week 13. Do it in week 14, 15, 16. Let's see you win the title and then gloat. You may do it. I'm not saying you won't. You're probably the favourite. You may do it. But stop gloating when you've done nothing. All you've got is a regular season win. No one cares. If you want to crown yourself, then crown your ass. Moving on. Week 14. We have the playoff games, and it's an interesting bracket this year. I think we've got some top games. We're going to start with Craig Willis versus Simon. Craig's been quiet this year. He's made the playoffs. He's 5th place, beating Sam Wood in week 13. We're not going to talk about that game because we don't really have the time. But yeah, Craig won, but it didn't really matter. They both through to the playoffs. That's all good. Craig v Simon. This is an interesting one because I have this down. If I was a betting man, I'd put my house on Simon, but I just don't trust him not to choke. He's a known choker. You know, brilliant analysis from the analyst, but I think he struggles with himself sometimes to make a clear decision. If anyone's watched the show The League, he is basically Rux and he loves to tinker. I don't think he can stick to a solid team. I think he struggles with it mentally to know how to go out there and get a result. I think it's going to be actually closer than we think. I think Si's going to win it. Si's going to win all day. Sorry, Craig, you're going home. But you've done. I commend you on making the playoffs. Well done. But I think Si's got this game by about 15 points. I think 165 wins this game. I don't think you need a massive score. I think you need a solid score. But I'm going with Simon going through to play Brunning, which I cannot wait for. And then we have the 2 teams. Sam, Ollie, 3 seed versus the 6 seed. The plucky, young, former champion versus the man that loves a holiday more than he loves life itself. This is a fantastic game from the sense that it's rumoured that Wood drafted both teams. Although his own team is now a shell of what it was at the start of the year. It's basically Matt Forte and Des versus Ollie's team, which is basically all still together, and it's been a fantastic year. So Wood's obviously done him a massive favour drafting his team for him. He won't be doing that again, I can assure you of that, because Ollie is killing it. Now, Wood can probably claim, if Ollie wins it, that he sort of won the league. So he's got 2 shots basically in this. He's got 2 out of 6 teams in the playoffs. Well done, brilliant job. I mean, masterful work. But if he does win it, if Ollie wins it, then I think Wood deserves at least 50% of the credit. Maybe more. Maybe this is more Wood's win than Hume's win. there's a debate there to be had. Definitely a debate there to be had. I think you can make an argument that Wood deserves the title with Ollie. I think they should be co-captains, that team, if it wins. Yeah, we're going to go with Ollie as the favourite. Not saying Wood can't win it, we're not saying Craig can't win, but I think Ollie's strong favourite. This team is scoring big. Wood can't match one. Wood's not going to score 190. Let's be realistic. He's going to score 170 at best, I would say 175. He needs Ollie to have a down week, maybe a 160, 150. If Ollie can be at 140, Wood's got a real shot. I think Wood's going to score 150 regular, but Ollie, if he his team goes out there and starts just putting point after point up, then he's going through to face T.O. in the semi-finals. So we'll talk about this Brunnings, and if what happens, I think we've got a real good Final Four, and I think Craig and Wood will not disparage that being the Final Four this year. I think they'll accept they've done fantastic work with limited resources, and I'll really look forward to it. If that is the case, those Final Four games are going to be brilliant. I'd just like to finish with saying, as VP of Media, I've been issued a statement from Sam Wood about the playoffs and how he would like just want it. In the statement he says, for the playoffs, I believe there should only be 2 byes. I also believe that Commissioner K confirmed this in an earlier conversation via the WhatsApp group. I call on the Commissioner to make it clear what will happen during the playoffs, and I call on him to change the rule with immediate effect. If he does not change the rule with immediate effect, I expect a vote on this issue issued immediately. Strong words and wise words. So, as he's alluding to, maybe 2 byes for the playoffs. I think it's a wise decision. I think it should be about your team, making your team, picking your team, sticking to your guns. I think 3 byes is too much now. I think for a regular season it's fine. As Commissioner, I always said that I think 3 byes for the regular season, 2 for the playoffs. I stand by that today. Still don't think I did anything wrong. Still think I should be Commissioner. But Simon's doing a solid job. I think he's doing well. And week, and I think he should make this a 2 by playoffs. Let me know your views. Tweet us at Essex Fantasy NFL, and I look forward to seeing you after the playoffs. Thank you very much. Good night.